Welcome back to the channel, Flow State Jedi's salute. My name is Sumedh Chatterjee. I'm a flow state specialist and I help you feel your best and perform your best. Today I got asked a question, also reconfirmed with my father, whose meditation retreat I'm currently attending right now. I'm on the roof and yeah man, it's day 3 and learning a lot about the Medicine Buddha teachings. And I just went through a Medicine Buddha empowerment to heal myself and heal others using this tech. So I'm truly grateful and blessed to be able to do this. Now, I got asked a question recently around what is the difference between spiritual visions and hallucinations, okay? Now again, this is my perspective mixed in with a lot of other perspectives. So take what I say with a grain of salt, okay? This might not be the end-all be-all truth. However, once you understand your own spiritual process, you will start knowing what is the real truth of a vision and what isn't, okay? I asked my dad this question and he responded with a very logical answer. And I think it's very powerful. So there is the story about a yogi who had visions of Manjushri, okay, which is one of the very ancient beings, Tibetan Vajrayana Buddhism, and saw visions of this being since childhood and so forth, and was telling this Lama Tsongkhapa, whose teachings we believe in and we look towards. And he told this particular yogi that he went back and validated it using the research that he's done, okay? Now, Tsongkhapa is he's an academic. He's like a scholar in terms of like the readings around Buddhism and so forth. So he went back and did the research, and all of the visions that this person had reflected the authentic spiritual texts, okay? I think it's amazing because later on he went to collaborate with Tsongkhapa and started to build basically on the tradition of his own, okay? But he was just a kind of a homeless wanderer type of person, right? And this one encounter changed his whole trajectory. And that's one example of that. But let's take someone who is clinically insane or psychotic, or they're going through psychosis, maybe, their mood is altering, their life is in shambles. And sometimes there are accounts of people who are going through schizophrenia or hallucinations where they think they're Jesus, or they think that they have a special thing with a specific deity. The most common ones, let me tell you, okay? The most common hallucinations are crop circles, reincarnation, good and evil, some kind of moralistic dilemma, or a kind of sense of paranoia. Meeting with your ancient ancestors of some sort, or meeting with just past timelines, or, bring up the dead and so forth. But it's interesting because then you take a country like Norway, at least 12% believe that they communicate with the dead, or some kind of statistic like that, right? So it's definitely associated with the place that you're in, okay? Like for instance, in the Bon religion. So let's say the Bon tradition is very interwoven with a lot of the Buddhist concepts, okay? In Tibet, there were certain traditions and shamanism and all sorts of things which started to get skewed with some of the, Nirma texts and so forth. So let's start to understand a little bit clearer, because my measure of truth has always been effectiveness. Does it work? Does it help you to function better? Is it useful? And this is, again, scientific, right? Validity and reliability, right? It comes down to that. So if you're getting these visions and they're just completely random, they have no sense of connection to what you're doing, your spiritual path working in any sense. It's like maybe a giant dog, playing a tuba with, walking through the moon or some shit, right? It's like, that's just a cartoonish, imaginative experience. It's not really, amplifying you in your spiritual world. Now, dreams are a different storyline, because sometimes people have also attributed, like Philemon, for instance, having a dream character that is separate in the dream realm, only in the dream realm, right? It kind of changes things when it comes down to that. Now, some people are way too attached, okay? And the reason why we give offerings is to actually, reduce attachment towards these things. It's like, and I love this example, by the way. I know we're talking around this topic, but this is just so interesting because I've been learning so much in this retreat. Let's just say, in a particular context, if your body really is the temple, then the food that you eat and the pleasure that you gain from the food that you eat, what if you were to give it to your specific yidam or your deity? Okay, now in Vajrayana Buddhism, you hold the deity, or this is Guru Yoga or deity yoga, in a sense, where you merge with the deity, okay? There's something called divine pride that takes the place of the I, okay? And the mantra replaces the I. So the I am, the sense of I, the individuality, the ego, vanishes, in a sense, and what takes its place is that you and the deity, you cannot differentiate. It's indistinguishable. The two energies mix, and this is all through visualization, guided practice, okay? Starting with a prayer as a primer, and then going into the meditation, into the practice, and then ending with the dedication prayer again to close that little energetic loop off, right? So this is very, very powerful, this whole practice. And, last December, I think, I came to the Guru Yoga experience. And the fact that my father is my Vajra Guru and teaching me, he's our teacher, obviously, it's very, very interesting how these teachings are being spoken about, manifested, and so forth. And I think that, being his son, I'm able to perceive certain things in ways that he's able to break things down and do certain things. Now, even before this whole retreat, I actually forgave my dad for all of the things in the past, and that cleared that gunk. And as I'm here at this retreat now, it's feeling so pure and feeling so amazing. It feels like a sense of blessedness has taken over, okay? That's what it feels like. So instead of going off of the datum of seeing is believing, what if we flipped it? What if we understood that through great faith and believing, then we can truly see? I can see clearly now. What does that mean? I can see with a pure, fresh pair of eyes, okay? I can see. And again, consciousness is only seeing something. But that consciousness needs to move, okay? Because consciousness is just a bunch of pair of floating eyes, okay? But what is this movement then, okay? I believe there is something else at play here that is moving the consciousness, and that is the energy, okay? The Shiva and the Shakti, okay? So yes, you have this container, this shell, this awareness, but then you also have the energy to move that thing forward, to animate life, to crystallize things from the immaterial or the metaphysical or the ethereal worlds into the material worlds, okay? So there is something happening here with our imagination. Our imagination or mind, if all is mind and we use our imagination in order to manifest things and bring things about into this reality, then imagination really becomes an interface between mind, body, and spirit. And again, these people who are using, meditation to escape from reality, or people who are going through psychosis, these people's lives become gradually worse. So if you are going through a schizophrenic episode, you will notice that a lot of the times you're not making sense, not even to yourself, okay? You'll get confused with your own kind of dilemmas, morals, stories. Everything will kind of seem like it's clustered and it's kind of disharmonious. You haven't really integrated it yet, right? It'll just seem scattered. Like a schizophrenic person does not make any logical, pure sense of the word, okay? They have little glimpses of sense that pop in, and you think that they're onto something, but then you get back in the head and back in the thinking that starts to actually overwhelm them so much that they cannot maintain a physical life. If I am the pure consciousness, who is the one deciding? And if everything is emptiness, then who is the teacher, and what are we teaching, and what holds? Just by naming it, you will allow yourself to experience this reality. Just by you simply naming it. So let's just say I call forth the energy of Haru, okay, Horus. Now, am I actually imagining Horus? Or is he actually there because I called forth his name, okay? This is a question of multiple debates. We can have multiple debates around this topic. Who do we really look at in society to justify something? An expert, right? We go towards these school of experts that tell us all of these different things. But what if the experts are wrong? You see? Then it gets completely confusing. And then reality just becomes your playground at a certain point, right? Because you're understanding that even a lot of academics, they've gone through the realm to actually realize that there's certain things out there that are kind of wrong, okay? Now, I know there's certain, fields like parapsychology and all these different, more metaphysical and mystic-based fields. But start to understand that through an authentic, subjective, spiritual experience, you're gonna see things and hear things sometimes that aren't hallucinatory, but are just a product of your subconscious mind, okay? It's just a product of everything that you've been storing back there, okay? And sometimes even dreams can be ways that we release stress through these images, okay? It's important for you to understand not to dig too deep into the meaning so much that you get attached to that thing, okay? And you can't let it go, okay? Me in my life, I learned, even in my creative process, I remember at one point, I was working on this kind of like personal project. It was like IB, right? International Baccalaureate. So it was like my IB semester, and I was really good at theater and acting and drama. And I realized in this one moment, my teacher said, you got to scrap that whole thing and start again. And in that moment, I was like, no, that's my baby, like, oh, I can't believe I'm getting rid of this artwork. Like, oh, it's such a, I spent so much time and dedication and energy towards this thing. It's just, now you're becoming a little bit insane, okay? Because what you're doing is you were completely attaching to this concept that is outside of you and making it a false god, right? You are making that thing into the end-all, be-all of the representation of you. If you understand that your business is you and there is no differentiation, that actually, my business is an expression of me, it is not me, because every time your business fails, you'll start to feel like shit, right? You'll start to feel insecure. You have in your mind that I am my business, I am my occupation, I am my gender, I am my identity, I am my this, I am my that, and you walk around with your chest up high knowing this. Whereas I walk around with my chest up high knowing this is all an illusion. You see, there's the difference. Okay? Number one, once you realize the ultimate true nature of reality, you will get a lot of these maybe visions and so forth. It's not going to be the bizarre hallucinations of a schizophrenic, okay? Floating random colors. And again, you might have experienced hypnagogic hallucinations, right? Just when you're waking up or going to sleep, or maybe you were lacking a lot of sleep. There can be visions and so forth like this, but isn't that, hey man, there's a reason why MK Ultra happened, okay? There's a reason why people were made to alter their sense of consciousness, right? Put themselves through pain, this is all chaos magic, by the way, guys, okay? Chaos magic says that you gotta put yourself through either a sleep deprivation or some kind of a hallucinogenic, like maybe an outside substance that can, perpetuate these visions, or just like a bunch of these factors, right? Like a closed room, depriving yourself of food, like fasting and so forth, right? So all of these things can produce these trance-like or hallucinatory states, okay? So first of all, it's important to understand that certain spiritual practices are about letting go, okay? And removing and unlearning all the gunk that is already there. So a lot of people use spirituality to escape from reality, whereas spirituality is the ultimate reality, is what people fail to realize, okay? So once they realize, okay, I am spiritual, because everything is spirit, of the nature, of spirit, okay? Inspire, of breath. We are alive, we're breathing. I'm spiritual, baby, okay? Let's go. Okay, let's not overcomplicate these things and start to get into this weird dualistic model of like, is it a vision or am I hallucinating again? Oh, I wonder, okay? I wonder, why? Why does it matter? Why do you care, okay? as long as it's relevant towards your spiritual journey, you just keep going forward, man. The answers will come. Don't try to go out seeking the exact answers like that, bro. You've got to actually practice this and have this sense of like almost a suspension of disbelief, right? When you begin your spiritual process. Because certain people, they could be freaked out, right? It could a spiritual awakening could completely terrify them. Because they're going, who am I? I'm losing my sense of self. I don't know who I am anymore. Good. Good. That is your true nature. You're not supposed to be scared of that. You're supposed to bask in the glory of that. You see what I'm saying? So really start to understand that a lot of the times we create these barriers and these differences and these labels. And then we start getting too paranoid, right? Again, I once had a drug-induced, let's say psychosis, okay? That does not mean that plant medicine was not valuable to me. My brain, which was the erroneous substance that came in, trying to add, or make sense of these fantasies, let's just say, okay? So a lot of people will tell you to cut out fantasy from your life, stop playing these video games, stop reading these comic books. A lot of people throughout your life, especially as adults, and adults are supposed to have this like serious role, right? I'm a professional, I'm serious, I'm never meant to have any fun, I'm never meant to grow, okay? And they will take you out of your fantasy, okay? They will take you out of the fantasy and tell you things like, you gotta get your feet on the ground. Why is your head in the clouds, okay? And things like this. Whereas actual crazy people, even Sigmund Freud said this, are dreamers in waking, okay? In their waking life, they're just like completely like baffled and like, whimsical. Whereas for a spiritual person, you are awake in the dream. You see, that's the big difference. So for a spiritual person, you're awake in the dream. For an insane person, you're dreaming as if you're awake. Wow, that's actually a very deep concept now that I said that out loud. Again, see, where do these ideas come from, man? They just make sense after a certain point. So after me rambling and talking about these topics, suddenly I get a new datum, a new insight that I can conclude or I can include as a part of my presentation here, you see? And that's the beauty of the mind. You see, the revelation of mind is connected to the revelation of spirit. They both function together, okay? They both function together. So start to understand, you might have some kind of mental disharmony, okay? Some cognitive distortion, some inaccurate way of thinking about things that are causing your schizophrenic or paranoid hallucinations and all these different things. Again, I'm not a psychiatrist, okay? So speak to a psychiatrist if you want to know more about that. I'm a positive psychologist. I have my own experiences around this, okay? And this is what I'm choosing to explain, okay? If you have spiritual visions, those visions, you can connect it back into your own life and in your own reality. Some people will say that, I have foresight, I can predict things that happen from earlier. Well, is that 100% the case, that you can always predict it? No, sometimes you might be off, and that's just the error of the human brain again, okay? These higher beings, they're not so worried about these, different things. They're just so focused on being. And hey, these concepts, spiritual ideas, they help people, okay, in life. So if your spirituality is helping you, making you a better person, making you smile more, making you laugh more, making you connect with others more, you're doing spirituality correctly. You're using spirituality in a good way, which is an optimization and an enhancement of life by recognizing it is beyond life and it is truly the substrate of life, okay? So once you get that and you're like really enjoying your spiritual process, like, hey, spiritual journey is not going to be fun and easy all the time, okay? You're not using spirituality as an addiction, okay? You're using it as a connection, okay? Very, very big difference. So that's what I have to say about that topic. I got to go eat lunch, okay? Head back in because it's pretty hot outside. But yeah, man, got to find time to make these videos. Let's get it. Upward Spiral Gang. May we never be the same again. Hit that like and subscribe button. You already know. We're here to win. Join the Adepts program, Costa Rica trip. We're all going to make it. Let's go. Boom.